Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in. So, over the course of growing up, I came across a few movies that I think should be on everyone's list. In fact, I think many of you might have seen them already. They all inspired me somewhat to pursue filmmaking and, in general, just tell a story through some kind of medium. As I imagine, these movies also influence countless directors as well. I think they're essential, and especially if you like genre films. I'm not saying you should drop what you're doing right now and go and see them, but I think at some point in your life, definitely check them out. Um, if you like horror, action, sci-fi, adventure, if you have a taste for just, sitting back and enjoying the ride, sometimes you have to let go of your mind and dive in and enjoy a film, regardless of its nature. I mean, some people like drama, that's cool, but I feel like, we have enough drama in our life, especially with current events. So why not enjoy something that'll make you escape reality, even just for a little bit? All right, so enough of me ranting about that. Here are the films in no particular order. All right, the first one is Night of the Living Dead, 1968, because I know there's a lot of Night of the Living Deads out there. But yeah, this is the one that kind of started it all. The maestro George Romero, uh, the zombie guy. I mean, he did so many great films, but this one I think kind of took off. So he went from just working in like TV studios to doing this on a very very tight budget. So I mean, back then it's tight budget. You can't even afford an actor with the budget um, that he was doing back then. Today it just doesn't compare. But he made it work, and I believe the story goes he forgot to copyright it, so it was like in public domain for like the longest. Sadly, George Romero isn't around anymore, but I mean, this film kind of started the whole Living Dead legacy. If you think about it, I mean, there were zombie movies prior to this, yeah, but this one kind of introduced the whole flesh eating corpse pretty much, and and the story it's so simple yet you could see it go down. It's you know the dystopian city pretty much falling apart. It got to that point to make it dystopian. A bunch of strangers meet in a house and to take refuge from the living dead. Humanity starts to fall apart. When they realize the dead's coming back to life, and they just can't deal. So everyone's kind of scrambling what to do. You don't trust the person next to you. Complete social commentary. It's filled to the gills with that in this movie, and in mostly all the sequels too, and reiterations, remakes, reboots. But this one will always like hold a special place in my heart because this kind of set the bar. The zombies. They bite you, you turn into a zombie. How do you kill one? You shoot them in the head. They walk. They don't run. Even though I kind of made peace with that. But anyway, this definitely influenced the creators of The Walking Dead. I mean, there's no if, and, or buts about it. This is like the grandpa of those kind of movies. I mean, it inspired the Italians to make zombie movies. Their versions of different zombie movies. Other countries chimed in. It was like a whole movement, and yeah, definitely worth it just for the history alone. But this movie, and like I said, I'm almost 90% sure most of you have seen this. But if you haven't, please do yourself a favor. All right. Now I'm just going to move on to movie number two. So this one is A Fistful of Dollars, 1964. And it's a Western. I know what you're thinking. A Western in my list? I learned to appreciate, cowboy movies, Westerns, later on in life. In the beginning, I just kind of thought they were boring and they didn't really catch my eye. But now that I'm, into like not really into because I've always been into Star Wars and stuff like that. But I see the influence of like the lone gunman going into like a half abandoned town and just putting the fear in people. Like in a fistful of dollars, Clint Eastwood of all people. This one kind of cemented him as that actor. I don't even want to say he was typecast because he's done so many roles, and I'm sure if he didn't go, in this direction and do westerns, he probably would have developed fine. But I mean, you have to admit, people kind of know Clint Eastwood from, you know, the Dirty Harry movies and the Man with No Name, films. He just kind of set that bar. And every time I think of a cowboy or a western, especially a spaghetti western, aka Italian western, I think of Clint Eastwood, and the many films he did. I mean, the genre itself, or subgenre, the spaghetti western, was just big on its own and lasted, quite some time. But it had its own flavor than the American made western films, and I appreciate it. Like, I love Italian films general, and now that I can actually sit down and have the concentration to watch these films, it's great. And I mean, what an excellent plot. The director Sergio Leone, who's, I mean, if you don't know him, get to know him. Like I said, I'm going to post, links, IMDb links to all these films so you can check it out yourself. But yeah, I mean, the man's just great. He knows how to work a camera really well. Ennio Morricone did the soundtrack, and it's very, like, I'm almost certain you guys heard at least some snippet of sound from any of these, you know, Clint Eastwood Western films. Because Morricone, he didn't just score a movie, he made you feel it, like you're a part. You're going along for the ride. Really, really good job. Everyone did a great job on this. All the actors, Italian, Americans, whatever. A Fistful of Dollars, like I said, very, very easy, simple plot. It's basically, the stranger walks into town, and there's two like rival gangs, and he's kind of like playing both sides as like a hired gun. And well, what it was actually a remake of a Japanese film from Akira Kurosawa called Yojimbo. Um, I'll leave that in the actually the link too in case you want to check that out. That's where Sergio Leone got the idea from. But I mean, as a standalone movie, A Fistful of Dollars is definitely where you want to begin if you want to be introduced to Italian westerns. I can't praise it enough. The soundtrack, the vivid colors used in the film, um, the very little dialogue that's given to Clint Eastwood, but just his stoic presence really just kind of, stands out. And definitely is one of those films that you should check out. I mean, even if you're not into westerns, like I said, this movie has such stamina and vitality. Just, watching it, makes you want to be a badass bounty hunter. Um, but yeah, don't take my word for it. Like I said, if you want, check it out. It's been out for a very long time. I'm sure you can stream it anywhere. So, I definitely recommend it. All right, well, let's go on to another film. Okay, so this one is also a personal favorite of mine, black and white film. Um, The Creature from the Black Lagoon, 1954. Now, we all grew up with Universal monster movies. Um, they're all iconic. You know them. Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman, The Mummy, uh, Creature from the Black Lagoon. But, while all those movies got remakes and reboots, they left alone Creature from the Black Lagoon. The fact that he's really brought up in anything, really. Roger Corman produced Humanoids from the Deep, which were about mutated amphibian creatures attacking some fish in town, which was really good. Really, really great B movie. I love Roger Corman, but nothing really came close to Creature from the Black Lagoon. It was in the works, I believe, and it might still be, but I haven't heard nothing since. But this movie, I feel like he's like the redheaded stepchild from the Universal monsters. And so there was three of them: Creature from the Black Lagoon, Return of the Creature, and Creature Walks Among Us. My personal favorite's obviously the first one, but it's just a great, creature feature show. It's a guy in a rubber suit, and I was actually lucky enough. One of my first conventions, I met the guy who played the creature, the underwater scene. So basically, they had two actors play the creature on land, and one who could hold his breath for a very long time, Rico Browning, and I've actually have a picture with him. The guy's still alive. He's like in his 90s, and this was a great film. Like, I don't know why people don't know about this more. It's so unique because, like, where we have like myth and legends from Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, Mummy, the creature was kind of like a standalone for me, and I guess that's what kind of drew me to him. And it was just great. Like, I don't know why people have yet to, I don't know, see, let alone talk about it or bring it up more. I think I even have a figure, like an action figure, still in the box somewhere. But yeah, yeah, it's just a fun movie. So basically, it's this geology team that go into the Amazon because they found some like webbed fingered hand fossil. Yeah, all that together, and so they go exploring for more fossils, and they wind up running into this creature. And what I like about it, because if you think about it, the creature really is just like a victim of circumstance. He's there doing his thing, and these scientists, geologists, kind of like laying on his turf, and he ain't too happy about it. There's a damsel in distress who the creature like right away like, oh, there's a mate, and that's kind of played too, but it's really 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 great film. I don't know why this one kind of gets looked over for the other ones, but I guess that's Hollywood for you. If it's not a name brand, like people will always mention Dracula, always Frankenstein, Wolfman, Mummy, but Creature from the Black Lagoon, I don't know. I definitely think um, people should revisit this film. It's just it's awesome. I mean, the sets. I mean, they were so creative back then. Um, I don't know. Like I said, it was just a blast, and I had a lot of fun watching it. It's one of those films I grew up with, and I could watch no matter what. Like, if it's on, I will definitely sit through it. And I recommend anyone who hasn't seen this, if you like those kind of movies, even just like a little inkling, black and white horror films, guys in suits, definitely check it out. Um, yeah, you will not be disappointed. It's definitely up there. Definitely worth a look. All right, I'm going to move on to the last film here. So this movie, another one of my favorites actually, Godzilla, 1954, the OG of Godzilla films. Now I know what you're thinking. You've seen Godzilla before, and you have. There was one in 1998 where he terrorizes New York, and in later 2000s, all the Godzilla films that just recently passed, leading up to Godzilla versus Kong. Um, but Godzilla, I don't think I have to remind people, but Godzilla was or still is. He's a Japanese icon, pretty much. You know, it's a guy in a suit, smashing model buildings around. But there's a charm to that. Godzilla. I mean, I'm not sure if it's like a statement or a fact, but I feel like Godzilla is an anti-war film because this is 1954, so Japan is still kind of healing the wounds of World War II. We beat them, we bombed them, and there was still that nuclear fallout. I mean, obviously Japan almost surpasses us in technology. Maybe they do. I don't know, but the way Japan developed over the course of time, it's like incredible. But this was a good example of kind of masking, like a tragedy, environmental disaster, and like this is the outcome. And to me, that definitely sounds like a kind of anti-war, not so much propaganda, but like just like, hey, this is the consequences of using atomic energy or nuclear energy. Because Godzilla um, is a pretty much like a dinosaur, contaminated with radiation, and this is the outcome. He could breathe out like a fire radiation breath from his mouth. He's just massive, causes destruction like a hurricane. Like I always tell people, You could remove Godzilla from the film and just show the images of destruction and play the soundtrack over it because it has the same effect. Um, the director, Ishiro Honda, would go on to do other Godzilla films. And the man's just a brilliant director. Like I said, he knows how to move a camera. He knows how to make a guy in a rubber suit believable. I mean, obviously, today's audience would probably have a hard time. But I mean, I love practical effects. I love something where I could reach out and actually hold it in my hand as opposed to CGI. I mean, they've done wonders with CGI today, but you know, nothing. I'm sorry, nothing beats practical. I mean, when you can combine the two, then come talk to me. But there was definitely, I don't know how else to put it, like a charm of seeing Godzilla melt stuff with his radiation fire and just crush things, and it was played very seriously and it had a very very dense, meaningful score. Everything about it, I thought was great. And I mean, once again, this film paved the way for countless monster movies on an epic scale. I mean, I do believe King Kong came before this, but, Godzilla definitely cemented the giant monster movie, I think, and definitely influenced or, continued to influence other countries to come up with giant monsters. Um, I think there was another film, The Giant Behemoth, that either became before or after, and it's, I guess, like the Western version of Godzilla in a sense because technically it's a giant monster that's radioactive. But I don't know. Godzilla takes the cake. I've collected so many collectible figures, the movies, and it's awesome. And to think to this day, I was just told they're doing a series, obviously from Legendary Pictures. So the guys that brought you King Kong versus Godzilla, they're doing a whole monster universe series. Um, which yeah, look, I'm excited. Any new Godzilla is awesome. It's good news. So I can't wait. But this definitely, I don't know. It was a treat. It was awesome to see as a kid. I think it still holds up today. And like I said, it's not on everyone's bucket list, but definitely check it out. You will not be disappointed, I promise. It's fun nonetheless, and you know, like I said, the statement the director was trying to put out there was, okay, this is the consequences of using a nuclear bomb. And when you see Godzilla, do his business pretty much and wreak havoc, it's almost like watching a nuclear bomb go off. But yeah, these movies I just mentioned, like I said, some people hate them, some people like them, and some people are just like okay, with them. But like I said, I grew up with all these movies. I definitely appreciate them, and yeah, they're just they're just special, and I think they should be on everyone's list. Um, yeah, don't have like a movie marathon, watch them all at the same time. You'll be very confused. Uh, I don't know if I mentioned this, but the movie previously before this, Creature from the Black Lagoon. The director, in case you guys were wondering, was Jack Arnold. He did a lot of, um, actually, he did a few monster movies himself. Obviously, apart from Creature from the Black Lagoon. But anyway, back to Godzilla. Um, do I recommend it? Hell yeah. Um, Godzilla could do no wrong in my eyes. So that's my stance. All right, well, guys, there you have it. Those are four movies that I think should definitely be on all your lists, or at least one of them. Check them out. Like seriously, if you got nothing else to do, if you're stuck inside, you know, bad weather, whatever the excuse, entertain yourself. Trust me, times are not easy. Times are very dark and bleak. But like I said, there will be light at the end of the tunnel. That's how these things work. But in between all that, have a little fun. Watch a movie where you won't have to really think too much about. All right, guys. On that note, we'll see you all very soon, and thanks for listening. Peace.